from the WNYB studios in Orchard Park, New York, it's Celebrate, proclaiming the gospel to Western New York and Southern Ontario, giving glory to the Lord in word and in song. On Celebrate.
And welcome to Celebrate. It's so good to have you with us. We have two very, very exciting guests today. But first of all, I want to welcome you to the show. We are here to celebrate Jesus. We're here to celebrate what God is doing in our area. And I have sitting beside me a man that's celebrating Jesus. His name is Dominic Secchiaroli. He has an amazing ministry, which we're going to talk about today. Dominic, good to have you here.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Pastor. We've known each other many years, and I appreciate spending time with you.
In fact, you call your ministry Amazing Christian Ministries.
Yes.
And you just had an event in California. How many people did you have?
We had over 10,000.
Over 10,000. Well, we're going to talk about that in a few moments, but 10,000 people. How do you get 10,000 people? Well, we'll find out in just a moment.
Okay.
And then we have Matt Gold, who is the COO of Kingdom Bound, one of the largest Christian festivals in America. And he's going to have some exciting things to tell you what's happening in the Buffalo area in the very, very near future. About 2 weeks from now, we're going to have something called Kingdom Bound, and it's a phenomenal program. And Matt Gold will be here to talk about that. Well, first of all, we have with us Kurt and Kellen Gilbert, and they're all the way from a sister city, Olean, New York, and they're coming to sing for us now, and they're going to be singing a song called Nothing Without You. Welcome, Kurt and Kellen.
We're nothing without you, Jesus. In my thoughts, in my prayers, in my dreams, I can be anywhere that you are, guiding me. You're RC, no matter where I go. I can be in a city stuck in traffic with no place to go. I can be in a snowstorm, my car broke down and I've got no coat. But in that moment when I think of you, everything changes. And I know I'll make it through. The reason I wrote this song is to tell you that I'm nothing without you. No matter what comes my way, right here I'll stay, 'cause I'm nothing without you. I said I'm nothing without you. My pain, through it all, one thing that remains is your love in my life. Lord, every day, I just can't thank you enough. I could be in a city stuck in traffic with no place to go. I could be in a snowstorm, my car broke down and I got no road. But in that moment when I think of you, everything changes. Tell you that I'm nothing without you. No matter what comes my way, right here I'll stay, 'cause I'm nothing without you. I said I'm nothing without you. Oh yeah, I'm nothing without you. We wrote this song to let the Lord know that we're nothing without Him, but we can do all things with Him. Let me hear you say I love, and I'm nothing without you. I love, and I'm nothing. Hey, I'm nothing without you. I'm nothing without you.
somebody told me they're twins. Dominic, they don't look much like twins, but they tell me they're twins, and nothing without you. We'll hear from them again just in a few moments.
That's awesome.
I want to share with you that one of the things that you will notice that on the bottom of your screen, there's a telephone number almost all the time. The telephone number is a number for people to call. In each of the cities where there's a TCT station, there is a prayer partner fellowship room. And in that room is where thousands and thousands of people call when they need prayer, when they need help. And we need you. If you're a Christian, if you're a believer, if you are willing to have ministry and you've been trained to have ministry, and we'll help train you as well, we need people to man these phones and be part of our prayer partners. Call Barb right here at the station. Her number is 662-2659, 662-2659, and she's on extension 1312. It's Barb, and her email is bav@tct.tv. And why don't you do that right now and put those numbers down and make a telephone call, and we'd love to have you as part of our TCT family. We think you'd make a great addition, so call us. Well, Dominic Secchiaroli is our guest today. Dominic, you and I have known each other for quite a while, haven't we?
A long time, Pastor, and that's a blessing to me.
Well, first of all, you amaze me. We asked a question a few moments ago, how many people did you have in your last event? And you told me that was what?
Over 10,000.
Over 10,000. Over 10,000 people actually attended your event.
Right.
And how many people accepted Christ as their Savior?
Well, at this event, there was somewhere around 700.
And they actually signed decision cards, right?
They signed decision cards, and then we also came home with about 800 prayer requests.
Now, I know that this is not just, you don't get people off the street. They attend an ACN event, which ACN is a multi-level marketing of telephone service. And you have these huge conferences or huge motivational seminars. And where was this one?
This one was in San Jose, California. You know, the founder of ACN is a Christian.
Yeah.
And he, the great thing about it is that he opened the doors about 4 years ago for us to actually invite people into the main arena. Yeah. And so we share, this service starts about 7 o'clock in the morning, and we invite all the independent business owners to join us.
And Greg Provenzano is a friend of mine. I had the privilege of having dinner with him. He sent me a note. He had read one of my books, and thank you for giving it to him. I guess you gave it to him.
Yes.
But Greg is a wonderful man.
Yes.
And he makes it possible for all these people to find Christ in his organization.
Yeah, well, it's amazing because you will all agree that it's unusual, or it's very, it just doesn't happen in America where, you know, people in the corporate world will open their doors for a Christian worship service.
Now, I'm sure that people may not have picked it up, but you are basically blind.
Yes.
But that wasn't always true.
No.
Just a couple, 3 years ago, you saw like all the rest of us.
Yes.
What happened?
Well, I was, it was about 2 years ago. I was, in June, I was driving home from a wedding, had a great time, and I felt great. And I was in a car with my brother, his wife, my wife, and my mother, and all of a sudden I realized I was having some pain. My sister-in-law, who's a nurse, actually grabbed my hand, saw that I was actually clammy, and she shoved 2 aspirin down my throat. And in the meantime, my brother's getting distracted, and she says, "You better get him to a hospital." And miraculously, we were miles out of where we were supposed to go and ended up right at the hospital at that time. So I got out of the, they say I got out of the car, I ran into the ER room, and shortly after that collapsed on the floor, hit my head, and then had about, I probably caught the attention of the whole hospital. They were all out there, and I was on a gurney. That's what I hear, because I don't have any recollection of exactly what happened, but it was pretty much.
They almost lost you, didn't they?
Yeah, what happened is the doctor's report said I was 23 minutes without a heartbeat, and with no oxygen. They shared with my wife that pretty much if I made it through the night, I would be brain dead.
You, of course, didn't hear that because you were out of it completely. You didn't know anything.
No, but the great thing about my wife, and I think this is the important thing about us being Christians and the difference of knowing that we have a God that just loves us and that hears our prayers. My wife, instead of collapsing on the floor and crying and realizing that she just heard that I was pretty much going to die, she picked up my phone, and I think, Pastor, you got a call that night too, in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
You did. She called all my ACN family, my personal family, and people like yourself. She started a prayer chain that literally went through the United States, Canada, went to Australia, Korea, and somebody actually put me on the Wailing Wall of Jerusalem. But the amazing thing that happened after that was the doctor comes in just shortly after that and says he had an idea and he wanted to share with us, and he was my cardiologist, but the pulmonary doctor was kind of sharing that he thought it was too late, that I was too far gone, but thank God he won the argument. But I believe this was timing. I believe this was all the prayer that went out, because he said, we're going to put you on a machine. It was totally life support because every function in my body collapsed. So literally they put me on this machine, and it kept me alive. And they said, even if I got on it, I probably would not get off of it.
How long was it before you gained consciousness?
I actually was in a coma for 2 weeks. But what happened is that my wife, and I heard later that people were getting a word from the Lord that they needed to continue to pray, that there was a fight for my life, and I'm glad people did, because people were sneaking into the hospital room. I had people continually praying, and then I woke up, and to the surprise of my doctor, because he called me Miracle Man, I actually wasn't brain dead. I mean, something.
And you were coherent right away, right?
I was coherent, and I had a trach in me, so I couldn't talk. And then I, probably coming out of the coma, didn't realize that I was actually took about half the day before I realized I was blind. So I'm blind, and then all of a sudden, you know, what happens is that I had a peace over me, but I was also full of fluid. I had a pint of fluid in each of my lungs. So one of the first things I did is drilled a hole in my back and started siphoning out the fluid. And I actually had gone through pneumonia and came through that. And after that, the trach that was in me, I had an incident where, you know, I would want it out, because being an Italian and wanting to talk, you know, besides being blind, I couldn't talk because I had this trach in me. A nurse one day comes in and says, you know, you're bleeding. And so she starts realizing I'm bleeding. She was going to change the dressing around my trach, and then now she's on top of the table holding this blood down, and she calls she's calling a nurse to call the doctor. About an hour and a half later, you know, she's still on top of me. The doctors come in, and they literally they suture the problem, and they had to take the trach out, but I'm hearing them talking in the room that they go, you know, the trach is out, and we don't have the correct one. They wanted to put another one in. They had the wrong size. And then all of a sudden another doctor says, but he's breathing. And I'm thinking, well, I hope I'm breathing. But I didn't realize that trach was keeping me, you know, was keeping me to breathe. And though I wanted...
God must have...
Yeah, go ahead.
God must have given you a miracle, because you shouldn't have been able to breathe.
I was supposed to be on that for another, they said another at least 6 weeks. So the doctor says I'm breathing, they take it out, and so that was within 2 weeks. So not only do I get off the life support, which they said I wouldn't, not only did I actually was supposed to be pretty much dead that night. So I kind of woke up from that. I had a second chance there. Then I continued to get second chances. As a matter of fact, my doctor told me when he read my report that the odds of me being here would be like winning 4 Powerballs in a row without buying a lottery ticket, you know. And so I
Pretty bad odds of that. There's bad enough odds to start with, yeah, with a lottery.
So it was the prayer, and, you know, what I realized is that, you know, like
in other words, your doctor basically said, this is impossible. He should not be alive.
Well, they were saying things like miracle. They were saying things like it had to be a higher power. So the great news, God got the glory in that hospital room, yeah, those doctors, and I know without a doubt in my mind, without the prayer of people, you know, of the people that were praying for me, there's no reason I would be here. I really believe God just honored their prayers, and I'm so thankful that...
But in the meantime, it was that lack of oxygen that created your blindness?
Yeah, the lack of oxygen, they say, created the blindness. But the other thing that I have to share with you is that though fears were coming in that I was blind and I might lose my business, my ministry, my family, that seemed like the devil was just bombarding me with thoughts. I started praising the Lord. And then here's another thing that happened is that I just believe is so important, that instead of focusing on the fear, my brother comes in and he says, Dom, he goes, here's what's going to happen. He goes, this is as I'm waking out of my coma, he goes, 8 weeks from now, you'll be in Charlotte, North Carolina at your worship service sharing your story. And I'm going, yeah, okay, right. But
so you were still laying in the hospital.
And he's telling me this. So
and your brother-in-law?
My brother tells me this.
Brother says you're going to be in Charlotte at an event.
Yes. And
were you at that event?
I went to that event. It was six weeks after I got out of the hospital. So he turned my fear into purpose. And I really believe...
Oh, no, wait a minute. He turned your fear into purpose.
Right.
That's an amazing statement, Dominic.
Yes.
He turned fear into purpose. Is that possible?
Yeah, he got me thinking about what I can do despite what this new disability was. He got me thinking that God is going to get glory through this. Though you're blind, what was said is that you know, even though you might not have your sight, what he made me realize and what God made me realize is that I would have greater vision. And what the devil meant for evil, I believe the Lord, you know, during this fight for my life, I believe the Lord was, you know, the devil was accusing me, you know, like in my coma, like, you know, all the sins of my life and accusing me. And I really believe at the end the Lord just said, okay, are you done? Because not only is he forgiven, but I'm going to bring him back for a greater purpose with a better attitude to take more territory for the kingdom of God.
You talked about turning this tragedy into purpose.
Right.
Let me ask you a couple of questions. The whole event where you go to these ACN meetings where they have maybe 20,000 people and 10,000 or more come to your service on Sunday morning.
Right.
How many people were attending that service before the accident?